What is up, everyone? It is August 2nd, the day I'm recording this. I'm blitzing through a bunch of these videos. They are not going to be hyper detailed because not everything is like printed out and ready to go as of yet. But I have been just running this gauntlet of kids camp right into a bike race, right into a vacation. And so the weekend that this is happening, which is I don't know, like the 7th and 10th, maybe 10th and 13th. I'm not in town. I'm on vacation with my family. I said, hey, you don't see me because of camp. You don't see me because of the bike race. So now you're going to see me, and I'm going to go and spend some time with you. Now, I do want to give you an update in case I haven't just bragged to everybody that I know. But my bike race is done and went really, really well. My goal was to go 300 miles. I made it 304. Which was good enough for a seventh place finish out of 116 cyclists. And so I only was out of first place by another 80 freaking miles. That guy was an absolute monster. So the race was great. I still today can barely walk. And I walked around my neighborhood with my wife and kids. And I said, hey, I need you to take over pushing the stroller because my knees are starting to buckle. And she said, we've gone 0.6 miles. And that was enough for me to go, I got to get back home and collapse. So it's been good. And now I'm going to go and spend some time with my kids who barely remember my name at this point, I think. So let me just say, thank you guys for being there this weekend and covering, especially if you're watching this and you're not normally in the class, you're subbing, whether it's you're like one of our once a month subs, or you're just like, I called you and said, hey, please come in and help. I appreciate it. I really do. Cause, I'm going to go on this trip and I'm going to turn my phone, basically off. And so this just really helps me out a lot. So, we are in a series called In Your Dreams. We're talking about Joseph, and today's story, or this weekend story, is going to be about Joseph in Egypt. So we learned about last week him in the coat of many colors, and that his brothers hated him, and they sold him into slavery. And so now it's about his time in Egypt, which is spent, some of it's really, really great, and some of it's really, really bad. He's sold into slavery, and he rises up the ranks because he's just this really honorable guy. Well, then he gets accused of rape and he gets thrown in prison. Okay, well, that's not great. And so while he's in prison, though, he honestly just earns the respect of the other prisoners and even of some of the guards. And eventually, long story short, gets out of prison. And when he gets out of prison, he becomes the number 2 guy in all of Egypt. And it's really, really great. And then there's a famine, and there's all this stuff is happening. At that point, I jump into next week's story, so I'm going to stop right there. So his story is very peaks and valleys, peaks and valleys. And so what we're learning is the big idea is that God watches over us, that even when the bad stuff is happening, God is still involved. And so again, I'm going to jump into the story of Joseph when I say this. Joseph gets sold into slavery. Joseph is in prison. He's interpreting dreams, and that's ultimately what leads to him being brought out of prison. Was that there's a guy who's like, hey, there's a guy in prison who can interpret dreams, and he goes and interprets the Pharaoh's dream and says this is what that means, and that's why he gets put in charge. When he gets put in charge, it allows him to save a nation, and ultimately in next week's story is what reunites him with his family. So I say all of that to say you have an opening small group for K through or first through fifth. You have opening small group. You have a game. It's all good stuff. I'm excited. All the games this month, I'm very excited about. I'm kind of bummed that I'm missing one Sunday, but 2 Thursdays, and so it's gonna be great. You have another small group for the kindergarten folks. You have same format. You have your host time, which is just kind of like an opening question for your little kids. And then you have some activities to do after your story. So you have your Callie's World story. And so, and if you weren't here last week, but you're here this week, Carl, I don't know where he went, but Carl's dead. He's dead to us, dead to Grow, the curriculum company. So you have a new video going on there. So or new people in that video. So anyway, have a great day. Have a great week. Thanks for being there this weekend. Again, it's the 10th and the 13th. I'm going to shoot the next video right now. So in case you go, hey, Trevor, you're wearing the same clothes in every single video. Yeah, shot them all in the same 20-minute time span. So have a great one. I will see you guys later. Until then, peace out.